then also we got a double whammy here for you today. We also got James Perkins who will be jumping in. How you doing, sir?
Come on, fam. Good to see y'all.
Good to see you
Hey,
as well.
James, how you doing?
I'm well. We are all together. I'm
I
feeling
know
better
that's
already. All the
Good.
fam is together.
Good.
No, that's right. Hey, now.
Hold on. He's still there. He's still there. Hold
Okay.
on. I'm
Still
trying
there.
to fix this so that we can have. Never mind.
Stop touching shit.
I know, right? I was trying to be fancy. I'll leave it alone. Before it don't work, then he disappeared. Then it's like, oh shit.
Yeah,
There you go.
that was an event.
Wasn't it?
It was
Like,
an event.
damn.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Oh, and Gabe said, "What's up?" Your cousin. Gabe said hello.
Because Auntie
Yeah.
V, how you doing too?
Hey, honey, how are you doing, dear?
I'm well, darling. Good to see you.
I know. Good to see you too.
So let's.
Why are you not here?
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Last minute request.
Stop messing
Want
around
to
with
make
grown folks.
accommodations.
So because everybody here, is parents, even Mason, because Mason's a Bill.
Yeah, he is a Bill.
And response. So, when we're talking about
Responsibility.
yeah, I was gonna say we're talking about responsibility and we're talking about stress.
Mm.
So, I mean, I'm sure some of you, you guys heard some of what we were talking about when you came in.
Mhm.
Let's jump into that. So when we're talking about like parents right now and new parents and parents of older children now, when their children are changing,
Mm-hmm.
how do you handle and manage that stress plus your own? Like, so you got your own shit you're dealing with work and da. Then you have the kid stress and the family stress that all come in on top of that. So like Kim, you were saying for your friend, where would you guys as professionals, where would you guys tell him to start when he's feeling overwhelmed?
Mm-hmm.
Well, first of all, being overwhelmed is it's natural. It comes with it.
Mhm.
It's how you manage it or how you deal with it.
Mhm.
That's important.
Okay.
I feel.
Mhm.
And I that whole scenario, I didn't hear all of it,
Mm-hmm.
but I was like, I was like over there saying, oh my God, yeah.
Oh, really?
I remember all of it.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
remember all of it.
Yeah.
And being by yourself, because we lived in
Mhm.
Texas at that time.
Okay.
So we didn't have a support system.
Ooh.
So it was, so it's rough.
Mm-hmm.
It really is rough. You
Mhm.
learn, for me, I learned to depend on Kenneth a lot. We depended on each other a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And I think we were blessed because we recognized that we were losing our shit. We were losing our shit. We were just losing it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I'm glad you say that because I think a lot of first-time parents really think like the thoughts that are going on in my head, only I'm having those until, like you said, they find their community and be like, "No, nigga, like this is normal.
Nah,
This
It's
is
real.
normal."
This is
It's
it.
real. Now, yeah, because I mean, like for us, because I was also in nursing school at that time,
Mm-hmm.
so I was blessed to, for one person in particular to recognize. She was like, "Girl, what's going on with you?"
Mm-hmm.
Because you're trying to manage it all,
Mm-hmm.
and she was like, "Okay, you know what? I'm gonna help you."
Mm-hmm.
And so it was someone else actually acknowledging that you are not
You're
not
not okay.
doing well
Right.
here.
Mhm.
You're not
Right.
okay with this. And then started honestly helping me and us
Mhm.
deal with the stress by coming and babysitting,
Mm-hmm.
or coming over and letting me sleep,
Mm-hmm.
letting because for me that was the big thing, letting me sleep,
Right.
letting me take a bath,
I know that's right. Yes.
uninterrupted.
Yes.
Mhm.
So it was little things, and it was learning new skill sets
Mm.
to manage, because I relate to the the whole the screaming,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
because I that happened to me.
Mhm.
I was just like, what the hell is wrong with you?
Yeah.
And I finally I just put him in the crib. I closed it up, went in the
Mhm.
bathroom, and I was just like crying my eyeballs out.
Oh God.
I was crying my eyeball. And then like probably about 2 hours later, I realized he wasn't screaming anymore.
Yeah.
2 hours later, I love it.
Because I was like, I'm gonna kill this
Yes.
kid.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I did. I was, you do the whole thing,
Mhm.
he's fed, he's burped, everything's okay.
Right.
You are losing your shit. I know you cannot verbalize.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, put him in that crib, screaming his head off.
Yeah.
Oh,
Put him in that crib, and I was like, I don't know where else to put. So I went in the bathroom, closed the door,
Yeah.
and just like I said, just lost it.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's
And
what
just
she
praying.
did.
I was just like, oh please, Jesus, I guess he's okay.
Mhm.
And the next thing I knew, about 2-3 hours,
Done. Yeah.
he was done. I
Yep.
was like, he wore himself out.
Yeah.
That's right.
So to answer that question,
Mhm.
I think for me, I can only speak from my experience, is
Mhm.
learning how to acknowledge it
Mhm.
and to start learning to get some coping skills. You're a new parent.
Yeah.
And I think that was, and I have to admit, now I went to a non-traditional nursing school.
Okay.
So it was based on a theorist who believed in self-care and
Mhm.
total healthcare model
Okay.
for taking care of patients.
Mhm.
So I was blessed because a lot of techniques were integrated into my program,
Okay.
Okay.
which was rare, and I
Mhm.
think it still is.
Mhm.
So it truly was based on community
Mhm.
and community service. And I went to a university that believed in that too.
Yeah.
So they taught you. I was blessed.
Okay.
They kind of taught you how to deal with your community, how to build a community,
Mhm.
and how to deal with life.
Mhm.
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 It was a very unique college because
Yeah.
that's what you did. You
Yeah.
learned how to deal with life
Mhm.
because life, as the kids say, life be lifing.
And
I mean, but it was lifing back then too.
Mhm.
Right.
So I was blessed
Yeah.
because my nursing program integrated. We looked at the whole person, so
Mhm.
you dealt with their mind, body, and spirit
Okay.
Mm.
in healing.
Okay.
So, my healing stuff came, way back
Gotcha.
with my nursing program.
Okay.
So I was blessed.
So then, James, with from the brother standpoint, because this was the gentleman that you were talking to, right?
Mhm.
What would you begin with him? Because most dads don't tap in emotionally right from the door to what's going
Mhm.
on.
Mhm.
So, what would you suggest to a brother who may be going through this and they're not even emotionally conscious
And
of the changes?
He actually said that, just to give you some context, James. He was like, I don't typically know something's wrong until it's too late. And he was like, I don't want that to happen again,
Mhm.
and I'm guessing he was referring to like maybe depression. And then he's starting to see the signs in his wife as well. So, like you said, what can he do to kind of, navigate before it gets to the point where it's like, oh, I've gone too far.
What's so funny, I hate to even say it, is take care of yourself first. And it it's amazing. I'll say this, the two things here. One, the what parents and brothers, parents period, but especially brothers are dealing with now, with parenting is drastically different than what parents, say 50s, 60s, had to navigate through. Um, if you're a parent, there's a book I want you to get. It's called The Anxious Generation, by Dr. Jonathan Haidt. And he explores the dynamic because we're such in a digital age, with our kids, that are part of the things that they're navigating through, as a result of just being kids, are being heightened because of what they have exposure to and how easily they have exposure to it.
Mhm.
Putting that aside, specifically for brothers, it- you're the challenge of parenting that I think is significant for brothers is that you're having to parent a kid while you're also reparenting yourself at the same time. And because most brothers don't have those tools to reparent themselves, they're showing up with really over functioning. So the kind of the tactical things they're involved in as far as tasks, but that things dealing with matters of the soul heart, they're just not attuned.
Mhm.
Um, and I missed the part you were saying that he had paid attention. He usually catches it too late. Was he referencing the kids or referencing his wife?
He was referencing himself, of just like,
Himself.
typically he doesn't realize how bad off he is until it's too late, and he's not exercising, he's not taking care of himself, he's not attentive to his wife, and that's when he realized, like, oh, I've reached the deep end.
Yeah. Get help yourself first. And this, like the simplest,
Yeah.
there's no other way. If you don't get, do I look cockeyed? 'Cause it's funny when I'm on split screen. I feel like I'm looking at it.
Wait a minute.
No, you don't.
Okay,
You
try to laugh. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be super conscious about it. I'm like,
now
wait a
that
minute.
should be better now. Now it should look like
Or better.
nope. No, now you're looking the
I'm fine,
opposite
I'm
way.
good. You're good. I'm just look at the camera. I'm short my screen up, right? But seriously, man, I think like find you a therapist. I think because brothers are so emotionally disconnected to what's going on inside of their interior world that it's hard for them to recognize the shifts that are happening in the people that are closest to them. And and that's the best way you can do it. Get some support. And the type of brothers that I'm around, like I'll talk, me and Ken will talk. You need brothers that will kind of echo some of the challenges that you're already facing. So that can give you a sense of I'm not the only one navigating through this. Typically with brothers, that depression sometimes is hitting or setting in. Like you said, he's missed it because he hasn't talked about a lot. He's stuffed a lot. But a part of the reason that he's stuffed a lot is he just hasn't had spaces to talk with brothers to be like, oh man, this is normal. Like I'm navigating through this right now. To lower that threshold of, man, I'm the only one that's kind of going through this. So sometimes it's just not the fact that the person is getting depressed or brothers facing depression as much as it is he feels like he's doing it alone. And because he feels like he is doing it alone for such a long period of time, that's what's leading to the depression is I feel like I'm in this thing by myself.
Yeah. So then when you on TV, when you said you felt that, like, how do you begin that conversation? Like the one thing that I can say with Chiquita and I, it was like a cheat sheet because I have been parenting before her. So I was able to recognize like, okay, we need to make sure we don't lose ourselves. But if I was to say that with, the my ex-wife, we were in it, and like you said, we were losing our shit. The kids, they were whooping our ass.
Oh yeah,
so
they'll beat you down.
So how do you suggest the from the woman's perspective, how do you express like the postpartum to a person that may not have a clue of what it is, but that there is a need for something?
I think that you're in it, and so for women, and my experience, because I can only speak for myself. For me, I think that I understood that something was wrong because for me, because you're not sleeping, you're not eating. Heck, you forget to do things. You forget to take forget to take a shower. You forget because you're just running. And for me, I had to just crash. I mean, I did. I just crashed. And then, so having the conversation with Kenneth was more like, I think to the gentleman's point, it's like, I realized I was tapped out. And I think, and he recognized I was tapped out. So then so then it was like, okay, we have to have a conversation. We have to talk about this.
Right.
And it was literally, it was like, put the kid to bed. I'm in the bed, and he's just like, okay, we got to figure this out because ain't either one of us doing well here. And so, for us, it was acknowledging that okay, we've got to do this because we're by ourselves,
right.
So we've got to lean on each other and we've got to do this. So we did. So it was like, okay, we may not be able to get a whole day to each other. I mean, for ourselves, but okay, I'm gonna take a couple of hours, and he was, he's like, okay, listen, I'm gonna take a couple of hours. I get the kid down, take a couple of hours, you sleep. I'm gonna go hang with my boys for about an hour or two. I'll be back. So it was that.
Mhm.
We began a give and take.
Mhm.
It wasn't a together
Mhm.
per se, but it was taking some time for each other.
Mhm. Mhm.
And that worked for us. And then as we, like I said, as my girlfriend came into it, then it was okay.
Mhm.
We're going to take 4 hours on Friday night.
Mhm.
After school, it's going to be us.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And so it was little, it was gradual.
Right.
We recognized that that we needed a timeout.
Mhm. Mhm.
But I think you have to.
Mhm.
Now for me, like I said, for me, I was
Just
out.
done.
I was done.
Done.
I had hit rock bottom.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
He can sit in there. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm not getting out of this bed.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't care.
Mhm.
And so so
Yeah.
that it was kind of a trigger for
Okay.
me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
then for us.
Mhm.
And I guess at that time, he had to have been maybe honestly probably about 3 months.
Okay.
Mm.
About 3 months
Mhm. Mhm.
of just this cycle.
Yeah.
And then and I'm gonna be honest, like put that little scoop of rice in that bottle.
I know
and
that's
I was
right.
just like,
Shake it up.
That's right.
take it up. Boom. I'm done.
Yeah.
That's right.
So that's a true confession on my end.
I literally was about to ask James for one because we've all kind of expressed our little
Oh, yeah.
ins and outs. But as a dad, and say a dad is looking for that community, and you can relate. What were some of the challenges that you faced when you, especially in the earlier times, like the 3 months, 4 months, and all that? What were some difficulties that you found, and then how did you get through it?
I think part of sleep, sufficient sleep, who was going to do what, when, where.
Mhm.
And I think that's a part of the conflict is if you're not clear on who's going to be doing what, then sometimes when you're tired, you're assuming, hey, I've been now it's your turn, but you
Right.
don't know what your other partner's capacity is,
Mhm.
or even ask them or inquire, and that creates conflict.
Mhm.
Then obviously, as brothers, when you are already having to work provide for your family, the how can I say this? The assumption that most men carry, or that especially in the early stages, when you have a child, is okay. Mom has had the baby. Now I'm all in, and that means I get no break for the next 5 years.
Mhm.
Mm.
Mhm.
Right?
Mhm.
It's like whatever she needs, and brothers won't admit that to themselves that,
Mhm.
hey, I feel like I need a break too. I
Mhm.
know you carried for 9 months, and
Mhm.
you know, I need a break too.
Yeah.
Brothers wear that as am I stuck?
Your cousin said saying it's your turn sounds like war when both of you are tired. So them is fighting words.
It don't have to be for long
Fighting
periods
words.
of time. It's not like forever.
Yeah.
It's just
Right.
it's short periods of time.
And if you're a good dad, if you're a good father, most of the brothers, they're gonna take the L on that. They're gonna be like, they
Mhm.
may fuss and fight, but it's gonna be like, all right,
Yeah.
just get your sleep. I'll make it work.
Yeah.
But if that continues, I think that's the thing that causes the challenge is you can't do that continuously without a cost being paid for it,
Yeah.
for you. So I think that for me, it was who's gonna do what when, and really just clarifying expectations. I
Mhm.
think if expectations, and again, there's only so much you can do because when my son is 9, it's your first child, you don't know what to expect
Mhm.
when it's your first.
Mhm.
So it's like, how do I clarify like expectations about what I want from you, how
Mhm.
you can support me, and thankfully, um, my spouse was not navigating at that time postpartum. So when you
Mhm.
add in postpartum, th- that's the thing, it sets into a whole other dynamic. So if you have a spouse who is dealing with postpartum, This is just not normal. Um, baby is crying and gotta put them down. No, that whole emotional interior is like disoriented. So there's another
I
level of
was gonna say
support.
that.
Well, and,
We talk about postpartum. So if for a young parent that may be watching and don't even know it, what is postpartum? What are they experiencing to where you can say, "Nah, baby, this is postpartum."
Well, from a physiological aspect, I mean, there are huge hormonal drops from your body basically like doubles in blood volume. Your estrogen is up. So there's a lot going on physiologically, and then once the baby's born, there's this huge drop of all of these of your hormones, and by nature, I mean, you just if you look at someone truly, maybe 8 to 12 hours afterwards, they are, I mean, their emotional roller coaster. I mean, they are just like hitting rock bottom even then. And you can see it. Because I mean, of course, I did L&D for a very long time. And they are. And you can see it almost automatically. When a baby is born, like C-section or whatever, when a baby is born and that switch in hormones, because immediately they're tired. I mean, and it feels like they have ran a marathon.
And people were trying to take pictures with you holding the baby and you over there like.
And they are
comatose.
Yes.
Right.
They are physically and emotionally spent.
Yes.
And that postpartum it's real. Because nothing, everything's out of whack. Everything is out of whack. And to be honest with you, it takes for your body to start equilibrating. It takes anywhere from 3 to 6 months.
Really?
Oh my God, yeah. Yes. It takes I mean, you've got 9 months to deal. I mean,
Right.
to build up all these physiological and emotional hormones. You got 9 months, and they're running pretty good by delivery.
Right.
And then the baby is born, and then it's like whoosh.
Yeah.
And you just go whoosh. So it's not, when people say, it's just an emotional thing. It's not. It's physiological too.
Gotcha.
And you are, you're trying to do all this because you literally feel like you have ran like the biggest marathon in your life immedely afterwards. And I don't think people understand that.
Did you say absolutely not?
Absolutely not.
Well, yeah.
Every time I hear people talk about it, I'm just like, you're giving me more and more reasons to say, no, I'm okay.
Well,
Yeah.
but it is. It's just, and that's what researchers are finding out, that it's not just, honey, you're just going through baby blues. It's not just,
Right.
it's
You
not
just-
just your, it's not just your mental status. It's a physiological issue too.
So is it safe to say that every woman will experience some level of postpartum?
I'm not going to go so far to say
Okay.
that. I think that, but I do think that every woman, I do know that physiologically, you are tapped out. Everything has bottomed out for a while. And the average woman, is running about 3 to 6 months, sometimes longer, of postpartum depression. Because your body has to get used to that, and you're adding everything else.
Yes.
You're adding everything else to this mix.
Now I got a question in this for James and also for you on TV, because emotionally at times it is made to seem like men don't understand. Is there a mental / emotional switch in us as well, even though we didn't physically experience the birth? Is there a connection like with your partner where emotionally, maybe mentally, you have triggers inside of you as well, to where you actually are experiencing a form of postpartum, or you are going through something as well because of what you viewed your spouse or significant other go through?
I would, the thing that immediately comes to mind is your partner is having a baby, nurturing it for the first 9 months, they're getting ready for birth. And then our role, for brothers, if you will, obviously it doesn't just start once the baby is here, because hopefully you've been supporting, going to the appointments and all that different stuff. but the rubber meets the road as soon as that child gets here.
Mhm.
And what I've often found for men is the thing that causes the most distress and emotional, if you will, um, disorientation are their expectations about what they should be as a father.
Mhm.
They are trying to reconcile fathers that were not there for them.
Mhm.
How do I then show up now and be present?
Mhm.
Um, Brothers, because they don't know what they don't know.
Mhm.
What am I supposed? How can I say that? Like I don't know. I'm not supposed to know this.
Mhm.
And when our partner is communicating with the assumption that you should know this, brothers are like they're left in the dark because I'm doing this thing for the first time too, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
So I think, and this goes for both, I think, women and men, is that your expectations about what you're supposed to be as a parent when that infant gets here is oftentimes causing the most distress as you parent, is because you have this model in your head about who you're supposed to be and how you're supposed to do it. And if that model is not being executed as you would like,
Mhm.
that causes shame, that causes
Amen.
loneliness,
Causes anxiety.
Mhm.
and it causes anxiety because then there are moments that are going to reinforce that. So your baby crying, Miss V, and you're like, hell, like I didn't fed you. Why won't you go to sleep?
Uh-huh.
I've done everything I can do.
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong
It's
with
on
you.
you now. I
Yes.
don't know what's wrong with you.
Yeah.
So what is that? That triggers a feeling of helplessness.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And when that feeling of helplessness gets triggered, oh man, that's when your history gets triggered too. Because now it's like, man, what do I do when I'm helpless?
Mhm.
That's why I said so much about parenting is reparenting ourselves. And as I know, we're talking about when babies are born in that early stages, but the developmental needs change obviously as they get older.
Yeah.
And so right. So the man, we look, and that we go on a whole emotional tapestry about that. I think you were mentioning who were you saying about the person that potentially wants to have another baby after they've already had three? I had stepped away. I don't know if
I don't think anybody said that, brother.
No.
oh no.
No.
Yo,
No. Nobody said that, brother.
I don't remember.
But
I
you
don't
put that
recall
in the
that
air.
now.
no, not
You
y'all,
put that in the air.
not y'all. Were y'all referencing somebody that was saying potentially having another baby? Oh, nobody.
You know
Okay.
what?
I don't want y'all.
I bet you it was when you were saying that the lady wanted to add another
Yes, that's
significant
what I was
other
talking about.
to her. You know, to her after her child, she was gonna be an empty nester.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the empty nester.
I bet
empty
you that's
nester.
what it was.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, that
Okay.
because that's the whole thing. And matter of fact, 'cause I'm not
Yes.
gonna say her name, but I'll definitely
Don't
cut this
say her
part. No, I'm
name.
not gonna say her name, but I'll definitely cut this part and save it for her because what we were asking, Kim and I were asking is, and then Auntie V, you can fill in on this as well. Kids are gone.
Yes.
You done did your job.
Yes.
And then motherhood for her has been a struggle with just making sure everything is balanced because her relationship ended up dissolving as well. But now your child's getting maybe 18 and be out,
Mhm.
but she feels like she don't want to be in the house by herself.
And I have a question also on top of that, James. Does empty nester have anything to do with the relationship that you had with your parents?
Say it one more time. There's oh, I would I wouldn't say that specifically. What I would say is the challenge of parenting, and this is presume I'm just making a presumption here. So say if you have your partner in the household and you have kids, um, the primary coalition, if you will, the focus really should be maintaining you and your partner's relationship. The kids are there, you love them, you want to nurture, develop them right. But your primary priority, the greatest thing that you can actually give your kids is a healthy relationship between you and your partner.
Mm.
And what happens is if you do not get certain needs met from your partner, what most often happens is your child becomes an emotional surrogate to get those needs met by them that they really should be getting met by your partner.
Mhm.
And so when your kid has been kind of like your space where you actually share all your thoughts, emotions, and feelings, when it's time for you to be an empty nester, like you're more emotionally connected to your child than you may be to your partner. So now you're in a bond. I've built, I've treated my child, which I love, as a surrogate spouse, but my real spouse or real partner is here. Where do we go? Because we've been like not doing our
Now
thing
what?
for 18 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now you're looking at it. I don't even know you anymore.
I don't even know you. So
Yes.
this is why, people they couples, they come to this realization like, hey, we need to get our stuff together before our kids get out, because once they get out, we're not gonna know. I don't know if we're gonna last because we ain't built and cultivated our relationship together.
Absolutely. And that is the thing.
I promise you. I told Chiquita that too. I said, look, we're not going to lose ourselves with this child. We are not going to let her win. Like, and there was times where we would high five each other, like, got her, bang, because
together, baby.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Just a team.
Right.
because you do feel like the sad part is learning this now with another person. Like, and I think about like things with my ex where I'm like, if I would have known that, you know what I'm saying? Because you didn't know. But that, similar to what James is talking about, in the relationship, we lost each other with the kids because everything became about the kids. And so then now you looking at one another and it's just like, you're just mom, I'm just dad. The whole relational part is almost out the window because she had a son before, so then now that's my stepson. Then now we got the little one, so then now it's just like, yo, we in the motion of just a 3-ring circus in here. And then you think because being the best mom, being the best dad, that becomes priority. You forget, like, this is my partner,
right?
It's me and you versus them,
That's
not
right.
the other one.
That's right. Because they're gonna be gone,
right?
And they're gonna leave us. Yeah.
They gonna leave us, right? They gonna leave us.
Yes.
And that's definitely something that it goes to the back of your mind when you're starting. You really don't, like you said, the expectations that I want to be a good dad and I want to be a good mom, and then you, like you said, you bring the traumas of, okay, my dad messed up here, I don't want to mess up here, and then you start overdoing shit.
And that's why I was asking, like, when it comes to what you experienced growing up, does any of that essentially funnel down into how you raise your children and making sure that everything is perfect?
Absolutely. Whether consciously or unconsciously, I said this to someone that I was talking about holding your parents with humanity, and how you may have had an experience with a caregiver who they really just didn't show up, and so you've kind of put them in this kind of monster category, if you will. and then you get your own kid and you start parenting, and you start seeing in some ways how that voice, sometimes you may not be acting it out, but that voice of your parent is in the back of your head when you go to discipline your child, or you want to discipline them in a certain way. And you vowed to yourself that, hey, I wasn't going to do this when I became a parent. But it's a part of you because you were in that environment for such a long time. So regardless of if you made the vow to say, hey, I'm not going to do this, there's just no way some of that residue does not come with you when you start parenting. That's when it's most often seen, because you haven't had a kid before. Once you have a kid, now all that stuff is going to be, I won't say all of it, but you're going to be faced with the reality of your history and your parents' history and how you parent your child. I have a and you just made this point, Ken, that typically what happens is, if you didn't feel like you got a certain thing from a certain parent or your parents, unknowingly you try to overcompensate. You're not trying to
Mhm.
overcompensate.
Mhm.
You just think you're just trying to do something different.
Mhm.
But for most of us, we end up swinging to the other side of the pendulum. And it's only when we start kind of doing our own interior work, doing therapy, that we kind of come back to that center of realizing, like, man, yeah, my parents didn't show up for me in this way, but that doesn't mean I have to show up in every way and not miss an opportunity for my kid, because that's going to teach them that I'm always going to be here for them, and they won't know how to handle life. So
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
and that can hurt to be like, I actually need to let them fall
Yeah.
and see what they learn from this, not
Yes.
rescue them from it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I
And
believe in that.
I have a real life example of that. Like, I was always traumatized because our mom would always pick me up late from daycare. Always.
Mhm.
I'm always the last damn kid. And I used to not understand, like, why is this woman always have me late with the damn teacher? And I'm just sitting there looking stupid, like, she's like, I have stuff to do. So then my thing now is, and even with Rita, when it's my time to pick up Yara, I pick her up early. And it's a trigger because
Yeah.
I'm like, she will not be the last kid looking at me.
That's so
crazy.
good.
And that, I promise you, Chiquita's like, but we pay for after school care. So
I
what the
know
hell are
that's
you
right.
doing? Like, so like
It
Chiquita's
don't
like,
matter.
if we got to pick her up at 4, she'll wait till like 10 to 4
Hello?
and go get her. If we got to get her at 4, I'm there at like 3 o'clock, 2:30, like directly after school. But it's all triggered from, I used to feel like, why
abandonment.
am I the last kid to be picked up?
You know, she left me by myself on 9/11. I said, well, God damn it, it's a national tragedy. And I'm still in school. Everybody.
And I still got abandoned. You would think, like, man, I'm about the whole world's about to end, and you still said I had stuff to do.
My school is across the street from a power plant. And she still said, you gonna wait.
I'll get there. She was good for that. You okay? I'll get there.
Right.
We're in New York.
But literally, when you spoke, that's the first thing that's why I started chuckling, because a real life example of that is in my head. And I have to think it through, like, she's good. You're all right. But I'll race from school as soon as I get off of work to make sure I get there so that she is not the last kid sitting there. That is ridiculous. James, I need help.
I was about to say, this sounds like a James issue.
James, next session, we got to put that on the table.
I mean, I'll
got it.
I'll give you some
Put in my notes.
drops. I'll give you some drops. I
an
suggest
issue.
you head on over there to James after that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
But have you dealt with any of that on TV?
You talking about just when I was raising kids?
Yeah. Of just like,
course,
thinking
yeah.
about how you were raised, and it's like, well, I don't want that. So I need to make sure I do this with my boys.
I have to being conscious about it.
Mm.
And acknowledging, yes, yeah, there are certain things that I can't think of anything off a hand, but let's see. Oh, probably because I didn't like to I didn't want to be the heavy person, the punisher. I didn't want to be the disciplinarian. So because I always felt like, I was disciplined enough as a child.
I know that's right.
So, that's probably my thing.
Yeah.
Which is, it was kind of like this, okay, now you got 3 times.
Right.
I done said it twice.
Right.
Don't make mama get up off this chair. Because it's like I'm warning them.
Right.
And then, once it's 3, I'd be like, Kendall, go get him.
Right.
I can't hurt my baby.
Right.
What are we talking about here?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was probably mine, the
Okay.
biggest one, and I'd be like, oh, okay, now, y'all, come on.
Right.
This is 1, this is a warning.
Right.
And it'd be like 2. And then, Kenneth is somewhere around there. And then, I'll be like, all right, you know what? I'm up. I'm
Right.
up. I'm gonna whoop your ass. And then I'm like, Kenneth, go take care of that.
I'm about to beat your ass.
Kenneth, baby. And then you'd be like, why you make us do that to
I
you,
know
boo?
that's right.
Mama love you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was probably my thing. I was not, because once I had to do it by myself, like if Kenneth was gone or something, it was probably as bad as he was, because it would just tear us up. I'm like, why they make us do
Right.
that?
Right.
Badass kids, They just be pushing us, baby. You know, they upstairs crying, and we just like,
Yeah.
why they do that to? Why they do that to us? Why
Mhm.
do this?
Don't make me step out of character.
Yes, you know.
So,
Yeah, that's
so
probably
then
mine. That's probably
for
mine.
James and also for Auntie B, how do you, if you notice that there's the triggers that are maybe like derogatory experiences from your parents, some negative experience from your parents, what do you do to stop that? Because there are some people that go overboard with beatings.
Yes.
Oh yeah, no.
Because they've been beat.
Well, we talked
Yeah.
about that the last
Mm.
show. The one woman that was triggered because her son was going to rob a convenience store.
Yes.
And she just, well, like you said, she was
Mm.
tired. She had had enough.
She was tapped out.
Yeah. So then she just went overboard.
Well, and she knew the road he was taking, and she did not want that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And so she
Mm.
had, I don't believe she had any coping skills
Mm-hmm.
to deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
And so her only mechanism was to lash out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, and try to stop him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think hence, you know, the beat down that young person got.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I think that was just all she had.
Right.
You know, I really do.
Mhm.
And that's why I would say, you know, I told you she needs some help.
Mhm.
They both
Yeah.
need help.
Mm-hmm.
They need therapy, James. They need therapy. Which is true. She needed therapy. She was pouring from an empty cup. She had
Mhm.
nothing else to give.
Mm-hmm.
She was tapped out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I said. I said she needed some grace. She needed some therapy. She needed some coping skills, and she needed a community. She needed someone to help her,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
help her, and help him,
Mm-hmm.
because that's all she had.
Right.
Yeah.
And I believe that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't believe it. You know, don't penalize her now.
Right.
Right.
This is the time where she needs you.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, she's lashed out. She's told you, look, I need help.
Mm-hmm.
I need help. He needs help. I don't want this for him.
Right.
Right.
So,
And so James, how do you reset? You get what I'm saying? So like
Mhm.
I see this coming, or in this case, the mom, I feel like the mom was already tapped out. There was nothing left in the
Mm.
cup whatsoever. And so then now her son's behavior has triggered her now to possibly go overboard, because now at this point in time, I'm tapped out.
Mm.
And now how does mom or any parent, how do they reset this when they realize that they've been pushed to the brink because parenting and life, they've gone too far, and now you kind of have to reset and bring everything back, because at the end of the day, that's still your child. And so
Mhm.
what tools, like you said, coping skills, what do you start to develop because you were done?
Yeah. One of the big things, what often I see, and I can only speak from experience, and then working with parents and what they navigate through, is the seeds start early, but you reap them later. So when you don't set boundaries with kids very early, very often you get, and I'm not sure of what her situation is, like specifically,
Mhm.
but you often get this type of behavior, but it's fully grown now because there were no boundaries set very early on. You just gave them pretty much carte blanche to do whatever they wanted.
Mhm.
And now that's emboldened in them this feeling of, I can do anything that I want without consequence. They
Mhm.
just don't learn that at 14 and 15 and 16. They learn that at 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7.
Mm-hmm.
When you say to them, hey, don't do this. And if you do, hey, some time is going to be taken away here, and you don't follow through on that, what that teaches them is, oh, the boundaries are not firm. I can do
Yeah.
something and I won't have to pay the consequence for it. And so when we think sometimes we're actually being loving early on by giving them, like, you should obviously give grace, but if every time you don't hold them accountable, that's, you're not loving them well. That's actually not love. You like setting them up for failure.
Mhm.
It's almost
And
Mhm.
right,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
right. And I'm not, and I mean, and this goes even with, even if you are a single parent, or even if you have a child that does not, may not have his father present, the the boundaries start early. They just don't start at 12, like I said, 13, 14, 15. Second thing is, and I say this, intensity always reveals history. So when your child does something and you feel like that, like you went from like 0 to 80 real quick, that's often something connected internally with your own history. So take a break,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
step back, reevaluate, ask yourself, man, why is this so triggering to me? Sometimes you can process that within yourself and get an answer. Sometimes you speak with your therapist and say, hey, this happened.
Mhm.
And like I immediately got triggered. And because you may not even know why it was so intense until
Mhm.
you actually sit down with someone and explore.
Mhm.
Oh, when they said this, oh man, it reminded me of this moment where I was telling the truth to my mom or my dad, and they just dismissed me. And they
Mhm.
didn't even or if you got siblings, I'm always the one that's having to my sibling don't do something, but it's on me. If something don't get done, my
Mhm.
parent looking at me. And
Amen.
it's like, I'm still a
Why ain't
child.
you vacuum that floor? Because there's another human being here. What the hell? Well, she ain't got
Right.
to vacuum the floor.
Let
You'd
me
be like,
sit.
what the hell?
And then when you did shit, I had to hear about it.
Well, I mean,
So it's even. Because then now you mad at me. I didn't do shit.
Right. And so look, I get it. Because like with some of these households, one of the kids, whoever's the oldest, ends up getting parentified. So now they are the co-parent parenting the other siblings. And
Mhm.
so if stuff don't get done by the other siblings, I'm sorry, I feel like I'm stirring
You're
up some,
triggering
some stuff.
yeah. Look, we're, we're
triggering now.
going right back now. I'm like, damn
Yeah.
right. Talking about, what did she
Right.
eat? I don't know. What did you cook? I don't know. Oh, you gonna just not let her eat today? She said she ain't want no hot dogs. That's all we had.
Perhaps this is a therapist. I mean,
Right.
you're doing a lot of triggering up here
Right. I'm sorry.
on his birthday.
Look, I'm trying to bring real world scenarios to the
You are.
TDS radio.
You are truly bringing it. You're bringing it tonight. Absolutely.
Right.
That nigga talking about.
Hey
Uh-huh.
man, the one time we took her to when she went to go to work for the Maury Povich show, right? We had to drive to Connecticut. All right. So my mom guilted me because I didn't want to go. I'm like, I said bye. I gave her a hug. See you later. All right, sis. Good luck. I heard, oh, you just don't want to go and see your sister off. This is a big milestone for her. Da, 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 da. All right, I'm going. Oh, and you going to drive. And I'm going to drive. Then I drove, got there, and had to sleep on the floor.
And watch the
Wow.
And then drive all the way home. I'm like, see, this is the job of the father who's not here because what the hell are we talking about? Like,
Yes.
appreciate you, bro.
this shit was wild. I was like, wait a minute. I don't want to go. I gave her, literally, it was like the day before. I gave her a hug. I'm like, I'm so proud of you. Can't wait to see you. Bop, bop, bop. Peace. Because I got things to do because I'm only brother. So then, my mom, she always would let shit go. Like, all right, so then you go ahead and go home. Then the phone rings. Debbie Blocker. Shit, what didn't I do? So you gonna tell me you really ain't gonna go see your sister off? I just did. No, at the place. Like, you can't go to Connecticut with us? Why? What I just said.
What am I doing?
Nah, I had to drive there. Then we did the furniture thing. Set it all up, sleep on the floor, get back in the car, and then drive back home.
With a chauffeur.
Yeah. Like this shit wasn't. This was for dad. This wasn't for me. I'm the brother.
So what happens is that's where it starts. You take take responsibility for everybody else. So it becomes normal for you to start taking responsibility for things that are not yours to take responsibility for
parents,
when you
that
get in
shit is whack.
relationships and parenting.
That is.
That shit is whack, parents. Like, and that's also for the, not just saying that towards moms, because I don't want people to feel that void
Right.
from dads, because a lot of the things that some of us young men experience is not so much the mom side, it's the dad side. Like,
Mhm.
get this girl to school safely. Wait, what? Yeah, do this.
I need
Do
to be
that.
safe
Wait,
too.
wait. What about me? Oh, well, you know what to do. Do I?
Do I? Protect your sister, right?
You did with Dion. You knew what the fuck to do.
And it's and the reason why I'm laughing is because literally a lot of young men experience that. You get told you know what to do, and you're like, do I?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't really think I do.
Or
No,
you're the man of the family.
Yeah, nobody-
You should be taking care of us, and that's a lot to put on.
nobody
someone.
told me this shit.
It
Like,
is.
and then you get hit with and well, when I was your age, I did. Well, times are different.
I was saying, was you born in like 1940 something?
Oh wow.
Mm.
It is, you know, and that's the stuff that, like, when you say talking about parenting now,
Mhm.
you try to. I know not even just me. I have friends that are fathers that overcompensate that
Oh yeah.
because
Mhm.
we know what it was like when you got these set of instructions. You better do this, and you're thinking, I am a kid, but I got a set of instructions as
Mhm.
if I am a full-fledged adult.
But
Yeah.
Adult problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like you said, there's a whole
Yeah.
generation of latchkey kids,
Mhm.
and I don't
Mhm.
technically see that anymore.
I see parents that
Oh.
overcompensate a lot now.
Yeah.
Like Gabe said, you see parents now that do more. What do you say? Parents that correct, and that's a majority of the kids in school now. Parents get mad at the teachers for setting boundaries. Like
There you
these
go.
kids now. I had a kid that today is Wednesday, so Monday. Young man walking, he's cussing on his phone. So of course I'm thinking he's talking to a student, and we're like, man, get off the phone. He's like, I'm talking to my mom.
Whoa. Ain't no.
Oh.
And when I say
No.
dog,
Ain't no way.
he was
Mm-mm.
talking to her as if you automatically thought you're talking to another student
Mhm.
because there's no possible way that that's an adult
Mhm.
on the other end of that phone, the way you're cussing and walking down the hallway.
Wow.
And because I told her if she doesn't leave me that alone, and no,
With the phone that she gave you.
with the phone that she's paying for because you had no
Mm.
job. And so then now when we said, well, the student, you're gonna get in trouble for that. Here's what she told us. Well, he's having a bad day. His grades are not where they need to be.
Girl,
Blah, blah,
what?
blah, blah, blah. And she took it. And we're like, what?
Mm.
Because he just cussed you all the way out. Like you weren't even a human.
But then look what's
Mhm.
going to happen when he gets older. So then now someone's daughter is going to fall victim to that, to where you think that you can cuss and talk to her any sort of way.
Yeah, it's crazy.
He's gonna run up against someone who will not accept that behavior.
Hello.
And knock you in your face.
Yeah.
Bash
just
you right in the
saying,
head.
it may not be a positive experience for him.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
all I'm saying.
Yeah, it's different. Like what Gabe is saying, it may not look like latchkey kids, but I will tell you that I feel as though a lot of the overcompensation for broken homes,
Mhm.
you see that amongst the kids now, and that's not a race thing. It's with all. Like you can
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
that parents are overcompensating for what they experienced,
Hmm.
and
Parenting out of our trauma.
yeah, big time,
Yeah.
Mm.
big
Mhm.
time, big
Mhm.
time.
I had a guy that I was dating that was, like James said, was parenting out of trauma, and I was trying to bring some of these things to his attention. Wow, the way that he collected me, I said, "Oh, bitch." He said, "Don't worry about it. You're just mad because you were a loner as a kid." I said, "Oh, we went there. Okay, well, this relationship is over. Fuck you and that kid."
Hmm.
That was,
Hmm.
that was a quick turnaround.
That was a quick turnaround.
He gathered me. I said, "Oh, okay. Well then." Mhm.
That sounds
This
like
is real talk.
history himself.
Yes.
Gabe said Coach immediately went back to Kim not wanting them hot dogs.
Yeah.
That's a traumatizing story.
Yes, it was.
That's how I
Wasn't it?
learned how to cook, because you're told, and this is the thing with parents, like
Yeah.
you get put on, you're told, make sure she eats. And you're like, okay, well, this is what we eat. I don't want that.
Mhm.
All you're thinking is, I don't feel like the punishment of not letting her eat, because we've experienced that already. So then what
Yes.
am I going to do? I'll go burn up the kitchen and try to learn how to cook chicken that was already frozen. Yeah, the chicken was already. So I'm putting in frozen chicken in hot grease. That didn't go.
You don't eat, girl.
Yeah, it did not go well.
Eat a hot dog.
12 years old, you got to figure this thing out. And all I know is I didn't completely unthaw it. I'm like, why is it cooking like this? And you hear, you ain't unthaw that chicken? Who is telling me this? And I think it's so hilarious. And James, and then also on TV, you know it too. A lot of it for us is trial and error.
Mm-hmm.
You're not being told that this is how you do it. And so when I say things, even to Chiquita now, like nobody tells you this stuff. Like you don't get told this.
So if it wasn't fully on thaw, then I know it won't season.
I get seasoning. Ain't that crazy? I seasoned frozen chicken, slightly frozen chicken. The inside was.
I know you didn't bread it.
I put some flour on it.
You could not have it. What was it gonna stick to?
It slid off. It was all inside the grease. It was a terrible experience.
It ain't gonna stick to nothing.
Terrible experience. She ended up. I don't even know. Do you remember what you ate that night? I do.
What did I tell you? A lot of my childhood, I don't remember.
You ate waffles. So I burnt the damn chicken.
Well, nobody.
You ate waffles.
Why didn't you go with waffles first then?
Because I had to figure out what I was going to. I wanted to do something like, okay, dinner. In my mind, waffles is breakfast. Because then you'll get it. Who told you to give her them waffles? Y'all, that's y'all breakfast.
There's a whole bunch going on here.
Oh, yes. It is. Because the hilariousness of it is, like you said, this is now how I parent with all that stuff in my head.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because the kids are the recipient. I'm the soft parent. Come here. Let me know. Chiquita gave her 3 days of punishment because she didn't clean her room and there was like sand. Yeah, and there was sand in her bed. I'm like, don't you think that's excessive?
Yeah, 3 days. Sheesh.
No, because like Auntie B said, I told you once.
I've
told you twice about this damn. Yeah, I told you about this damn sand.
Yes.
And so after the first day, I was like, well, she can watch TV with me. No, she can't. Oh, I'm like,
there's consequences. There's consequences to the action. You know,
and this is probably where so this is where we have the biggest challenge because you got either gentle parenting or authoritative parenting,
right?
And the blend of that is you want to. So punishment usually leads to some level of emotional. When you punish, you're usually leaving some level of emotional disconnection. So the child is disconnected because of the punishment that you're offering them and how you're going about doing it. The goal is discipline. Now, the difference between discipline and punishment is you just pay the consequence, but you don't learn anything about why to make it reparative, how to improve it,
Yeah.
Discipline is about how do I stay connected to my child while I'm holding a boundary in whatever they've did. So and I'm trying to think of a good example here of, and this is probably in our age, I will say culturally around emotional expression for kids, because these kids, they're a lot more emotionally fragile and emotionally expressive, right?
Yeah.
So the dynamic that we're navigating is how do I say it's okay for you to have emotions and express them, because that was probably something that, especially for us, we weren't given the liberty to do that we want to give our kids now. So
how many people have heard that line?
Right. So how do I give them the ability to let them know, hey, it's okay for you to express your emotions, but how you express it is important, because you want to be heard, right? And Avery, I asked my son, you want to be heard, right? And he'll say yes. So think about how you say something. I know you want to have an emotion. You can be angry, be upset, but how you express it is going to determine how I hear it. And so what that gets to is, hey, your emotions are important. I'm hearing you, but you can't go about it that way if you're trying to get something, especially if you're trying to get something from me. Like that's not going to happen. Right. But yeah, the punishment, it doesn't work, because what often happens is you produce kids that will behaviorally comply when they're in your presence, but do something totally different in your absence.
That's what's in these school
is true.
buildings.
Mm.
Yeah, because some of the parents can't believe it until you show them the video of their kids doing what you said they did, and then now they spaz out because sometimes it's kids that you would never. You look at the parents and you would never expect this type of behavior. But then when you say, "Here's the video," whew, you know what I mean, and you said it's not. The one thing I can tell by everybody here, we've had consistent parenting enough to know that there ain't no switch where I'm gonna act this way, this over here, and then switch and be this way over here. That's what you see a lot with these kids. So amongst their parents, they go into being angels. Then the moment you let them loose and they ain't around, they tear it up.
Interesting.
Yeah, they tear it up.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
I mean, it is. I say that sincerely.
That is unfortunate.
Yeah, and it's more than a little bit, man. And then, like you said today, what I experienced with a young man is he didn't have any coping skills whatsoever, and he's like a junior, and he just broke. But there was no balance of being able to communicate through what he was experiencing, and literally just broke to the point where I ended up having to give him a hug. Because when I say he broke, there was just nothing but tears flowing, and I don't understand it. And he's mad and he's angry and he's frustrated, and he couldn't express why he was angry, mad, and frustrated. All he could say is, "I'm angry, mad. I'm mad at myself," and he's punching his fist together because he
That poor baby.
and he couldn't get it out. But then once again, when you think about the dynamics, he's like, "My mom is on me, y'all on me." Like everybody's on him about his academic performance right now. He just could not say, "Hey y'all, I just need a break." Like it came out in the worst way. I'm glad he got it out, but it came out in the worst way. And it's a lot of these kids, like their ability to talk with adults is just shot. Like I have kids that'll say, "Can I come in your room?" And you say, "Well, why?" Because this substitute is getting on my nerves. Well, what did you say? No, it's just the way they talking to me, yo. They talking to me crazy. Well, what was your response? Man, they ain't gonna be talking to me like that. And I'm
Well,
thinking,
how are they
like,
talking to you?
ooh, ouch. Because we, as an adult, we knew that there was a certain dialogue that you can have with adults, and then if it went past a certain, then you stop. No, these kids keep going. So then it turns into disrespect because now you're communicating with me as if you are an adult. And you're like, you're a kid, relax. But they don't take it that way. So they feel like they're communicating on an equal level. And it is frustrating in that department because it's not just kids with behavioral issues. These are kids, period. Like even talking to my 14-year-old, you can tell that because of, I think, what they're exposed to, as James said earlier, their dialogue with people is just consistent across the board, whether you're an adult or a peer. And that's wild.
Yeah.
It is.
That's wild. I don't know how they're going to make it.
I'm telling you.
So we circle back to why I'm not having kids.
Because this is a lot to deal with.
Telling
That's
you.
the theme of
Speaking of
tonight,
that,
why Kimberly is not having kids.
This is a lot to
Then you
deal
have
with.
parents say, "But we love our babies," and you're like, "Really?"
look, speaking of that, I'm actually going to have to head to a session now to help some parents navigate.
Okay.
Hey man, we
Thank you.
appreciate you stopping in, man.
It's
You
always
got it. Love y'all, family. Y'all be well.
All right. You too, man. So now,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Then, yeah.
Wasn't that fun? Do y'all feel better?
Do you feel better?
well,
you feel better?
for me, it's jokes because at the end of the day, she's not here on the other side to be able to address it with her. Now that I'm older, I'm like, man, it was your fault, but she's not here. But
Yeah.
I think though, a lot of it is why we are where we are to this day.
Yeah.
Mm.
You know what I mean, and how we
Who-
deal with one another.
It made you who you are.
Yeah.
For
it
good,
did.
better, for worse.
did.
It is.
It did. It made sense now. It didn't make sense then, but it
never
makes
does.
sense
Mhm.
now.
It
Like,
never does.
you know, where and I know she still hates it because I still pull the father thing, like, who are you talking to? What? Where are you at? And all that. But it's also now with us only having each other,
Mm-hmm.
that's what you got.
It's different.
Yeah, different.
You have to move differently.
Mm-hmm.
You understand.
Yeah. You get it.
Yeah, you get it.
Yeah. And I
Get
think
it.
that's something I think a lot of people should do is kind of give grace to parents when you feel like this was wild. Because what I've started to do now is go back and think about how young some of them were.
Yes.
And you're like, ugh.
Yeah. Because what would I have done
Yes.
at this age now with 2 kids? Like, what?
And
Yes.
one who just don't want to get right. And
Yes.
me.
And then one that's tubby and then wants to eat all the time. Like, what? And with a lisp. What's happening?
Okay.
Because I would have thought I was special needs. Like, is she okay?
Definitely. No, going back in time, I'm like, yo, this kid is autistic.
Is this one okay? 'Cause maybe we should get her checked.
Okay. I feel like I'm the mediator. Okay.
Definitely.
And tonight, people, we are just wrapping up a session with Kimberly
you said.
and Kenneth.
Then I go back and think about things, but like you said, there is a level of mom
Yeah.
doing things that has made me a self-sufficient adult that has given me
Yeah.
the ability to problem solve that I'm not seeing with a lot of these kids. Where
Correct.
I'm like, you don't have a level of figuring this out.
Yeah.
Like,
She gave you that.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Listen.
and she would say it like, my job is to make y'all productive citizens
Yes,
out here.
absolutely.
And when she would tell me, and I'd be like, man, it's what's so cold. Cold my ass.
The world is cold, baby. You talk about cold and
cold
indifferent.
my ass. My
They
goal
don't give a shit
is
about
to
you.
not have my
And don't.
That's the type of stuff she was
Yeah.
saying. My goal is to make sure my kids ain't out here depending on
That's
shit.
right.
Like,
God bless the child who has a stone. Better get out there and drop it like it's hot and rinse through yesterday. You better work this.
yeah. And it's like,
true.
you know, and I see that even joking around, even
Yeah.
with X, because
Mhm.
X calls it right. Yeah, no, she would get us right. No.
Because that's my job.
Yeah.
I'm not your friend. I'm not your friend. You go out there and get you some friends.
Yeah. Because it ain't here.
It's not, I'm your parent.
Yeah.
My job is not to be your friend.
Mhm.
Right.
It's never been to be your friend.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No.
Mhm.
Yeah, we're not gonna sit around, and have a drink and talk about,
Mhm.
life. Are you seriously? Are you serious? I'm not your friend. I'm your mother.
Yeah.
My job is to make you a productive citizen in this world.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm here to give you some coping skills.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
That's not no,
Mhm.
no,
Mhm.
no.
And like you said, where a lot of new parents are falling victim is that they're trying to be the friend.
Yeah.
And it's like, no,
I'm not your
no,
friend.
No.
You
no.
can't take the place
Yeah.
of like my significant other.
Mm-mm.
That's not your job.
Exactly.
And it adds
It's
a
not your
level of
job.
stress
Oh my God, yes.
because then there's no lines.
Mhm.
and you can't let them be a child. You can't
Yeah.
let them grow. You can't let them.
Mhm.
They're not.
Yeah.
That's why they're running around doing stuff like grown people.
Yeah.
That's why they're speaking to adults
Mhm.
the way they are.
Mhm.
But yet they lack the skill set
Mhm.
to do that.
Correct.
They lack that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so you're
Mhm.
asking them to be an adult and have adult problems
Mhm.
because they do. They do have adult problems.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Because they're not at this point set up, especially when they're teens. They haven't been set up for success. They
Right.
haven't. They
Yeah.
don't have a base.
Mhm.
And so, I don't know. Bless their hearts, how they're going to make it through
Yeah.
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
it's going to be difficult.
It's gonna be tough.
It's going to be difficult.
tough. But then if their parents need to get to baseline, you can get them right with
I can help them, honey.
I know.
I'm
Hello?
not a miracle worker,
Yeah.
y'all. Now.
That's right.
I'm not. But yes, I mean, truly, I always say that you can't pour from an empty cup.
Right.
You've got to take care of yourself.
Mhm.
You've got to take care of your mind, your body, and your spirit.
Mhm.
And the way to do that is to come to thehealingconsultant.com.
Hello.
And I mean, because I do have blogs on how you can incorporate CBD into your
Mhm.
everyday life to decrease your stress, to decrease your anxiety, the aches and pains of everyday life,
Mhm.
because that's just the way it is. And you have to be able to take care of yourself. I've got
Mhm.
everything from scented candles, honey, to lotion, to oils, to gummies, everything. Yes. I'm helping. Like I said, that's just one piece of the puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got to set intention, because if not, they're gonna drive you crazy.
And will.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
will.
And will.
And will. And I don't care if it's just 5-10 minutes out of your day.
Mhm.
You know, do something for yourself.
Right.
Do something for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Set yourself up for success, honey.
Hello.
Yeah.
You got to, because you're dealing with these people.
Yeah.
You
And
dealing
people
with
are
these
going to
people.
keep people in.
Oh my God, yes. So they're gonna be on your butt because they are relentless.
Yeah.
Because they don't care about you either.
No.
Don't give a single damn.
No. And they'll let you take their problems
Yeah.
and make them your own. Don't do that.
Mm-mm.
Go get yourself some drops.
Mhm.
Go to thehealingconsultant.com. And if you want to, have a conversation, DM us, let us know what's on your mind. Let us know how you're moving or how you want to move.
Yeah.
See if we can help you out. That's what I'm saying.
Dumb
Like so,
question,
like that.
Auntie. Are the gummies instant or do you have to take them for a while before you feel them kick in?
Okay.
Never a dumb question.
No, absolutely not. Because we talked about gummies. So gummies are going to take, if you take it on an empty stomach, it'll kick in about an hour. If you do it afterwards, it's going to take about an hour and a half because it goes through digestion.
Mm-hmm.
So gummies are going to take a minute to kick in. Now the drops will not.
Mm.
So the drops, give it 15-20 minutes.
Yes.
And it'll level you off.
Mhm.
Okay. So I would suggest drops if you want to try to do like some instant, really, because it's going to take about 15-20 minutes, and it can go in anything:
Mhm.
coffee, water, tea, whatever you want.
Mhm.
And they'll work faster because they don't go through digestion. So the simple answer is that gummies will take a little bit because they have to go through digestion.
And if it's one of those days, you might need to do the drop and the gummy. Mhm.
You might need to what we call preload.
Mhm.
Start it then, and
Mhm.
then eat the gummy, and then like an hour and a half down the road, you're like, okay,
Mhm.
I'm leveled off. I'm
I'm
good.
leveled. I'm good.
You may not have to take it. You may only start like with one drop
Mm-hmm.
in your in whatever beverage you want.
Mhm.
And then, when you take the gummy, then you know that, okay, you're going to get it like a sustained
Yes.
kind of effect throughout your morning
Mm-hmm.
and into your early afternoon.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Cool. So order something. Gabe.
Yeah.
Go get it.
Yeah.
And if you do have any more questions, make sure you just go to
Absolutely.
thehealingconsultant.com.
And it's satisfaction guaranteed. So if you find that you do not enjoy the product, which I don't think you will,
I haven't had anybody yet.
I know, right? You can always reach out to Auntie V and she will make it right for you.
Yeah. Because you have to have, because again, I say, we're not trying to get you high.
No.
That's not my thing.
Mm-mm.
So I'm just trying to get you at a place where you things are coming at you and you good.
Mm-hmm.
You can cope, you can deal, you'll be okay. That does not mean that you will not say a couple of dams and fucks. That just means that you know that you're gonna say a couple of dams.
Mm-hmm.
You recognize it.
Yes,
Yes.
buy it for you and your wife.
Mm-hmm.
Please
yeah.
do.
Yes, absolutely.
Do that.
Yes.
Do that.
And they all come with a certificate of analysis, so you know exactly what you're taking. Okay. And that's important. That's important no matter what you take.
Yeah.
Know what you're taking.
Yeah. So
what you're
like,
putting in your
don't
body.
substitute it for going to the vape stores where they don't have all that because they don't have
No.
that. So you don't
And they're
know
not
what you're doing.
obligated to.
Right.
Which is scary.
Yeah, they're not obligated to.
Mm-hmm.
So we appreciate you.
Yes.
You're not going out of town tomorrow, are you?
No, I'm here. I'm here until July.
Okay. So
July.
Then we'll be back tomorrow.
Mhm. Obi will be in the building. So you know what? You'll get your birthday song.
Obi's singing tomorrow. Okay. Little O.
Little
All
O.
right.
Little Obi.
So yeah. Well, that was a good show today.
Yes. And appreciate both of you.
Yeah.
You know.
And,
And always for sharing your wisdom.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because they need it.
A little bit of humor in there
Yeah. They need it.
because it's real.
All the
Parenting is
time.
real
Psh,
all day, every day.
man. My last story. My mom sent her a text about number 2. I said, well, Dana's pregnant again. My mom sends back, damn, that's a dumb move.
She's not wrong.
And I put the
Depending
phone
on the situation.
I put the
I
phone
mean,
down. And I
She
said,
obviously knows.
I put
the
phone-
situation.
Yeah, I put the phone down and I just stared at it like, well, damn. I now understand it was
Keeping it real.
because there was things that we were trying to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you add another kid,
Mhm.
boom, boom.
Yeah.
And I took it personally. Like, what do you mean? No, dummy. Y'all were trying to do things that now you got to put on hold.
Yeah, you're trying to move differently. Now you can't.
Nope. So the moral of the story is don't have kids.
Don't
It's like, no, I'm
have
just
kids.
joking. That
No.
prepare for them. That's different. Prepare for your kids.
Or just don't have them.
TDS Radio, our voice, our culture. Good night.